Ready.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. We were discussing about input statement. I told you we use input statement to specify variable names. Not only that one, input statement describes the arrangement of data. And not only that one, along with the in-file statement, input statement reads data into variables. So along with in-file statement, it reads data values into variables. And depends upon the data, we use different types of input statements. What are the input methods that we have in so far? We have seen column input method. You know that when we use the column input method, when the data contains embedded spaces, but if the data is in aligned manner, we use a column input method. And then we have seen list input method. In the list input method, we have seen two methods. The first one is we have seen simple list input method. The simple list input method contains two methods. One method that we are doing every day. The second method, when we have a data in aligned manner, we can use second simple list input method as well. And I told you simple list input method has so many drawbacks. To overcome the drawbacks, we have an advanced or modifier list input method. In the advanced modifier list input method, we use different types of advanced modifiers. We use dollar symbol to read the character data. We have an ampersand symbol. It can read the single spaces, but it will stop at the double space, two consecutive spaces. And we have seen colon symbol. It reads up to single space or the length that we specified. Or we have seen plus symbol. It skips n number of columns. And then we have seen title symbol to read single double quotations and special characters part of the data. And we use multiple input statements. We use multiple input statements when the data comes in multiple lines and embedded spaces. And we have seen as symbol. This is also when the data is in multiple lines, and we use a forward slash symbol. So multiple input statement, as symbol, and a forward slash symbol. These three methods we use when the data comes in multiple lines and the data contains embedded spaces. And then we have seen formatted input method. In the formatted input method, before each and every variable, we'll specify the @ symbol, then the starting column, then we will add the variable name. If it is a character variable, we'll specify the dollar symbol, then how much width you want to have, we specify the width. And then we have seen named input method. In the named input method, sometimes the data comes along with the variable names. Is my voice is not audible?
Audible.
Audible.
It's audible.
Named input method, sometimes the data comes along with the variable names. So in that scenario, what we will do, we are going to specify every time variable every time we are going to the variable name is equal to. Now SAS looks for that is equal to whatever the value that we have after that is equal to. Now that will come into that variable. And then we have seen null input method. An input statement without any argument is called as a null input method. By using null input method, we can create a zero variable data set. But I told you there is no practical application. Simply in the interview, they will ask you how to create a zero variable data set. Simply can say by using null input method. And by finally, we have seen mixed input method. If you use more than one input method in the same input statement, if you use multiple input methods in the same input statement, that is called as a mixed input method. So these are the methods that we have seen. That means in the real time, nobody will ask you what is the method that you are using. All we need to do, we have to get without any truncations. Without any truncations. Okay, so these are the methods that we have seen. This is what we have seen up to the last class. Now, this is my data. I want to create data set. In today's class, we are going to discuss about, input specifications.
Sir, trialing double trialing చెప్పలేదు sir.
Who is that?
Ashrit.
Ashrit.
Sir.
We are going to discuss about that one right now.
Okay, sir.
Input specifications. What is this input specification? We have two different types of input specifications. The first one is single trailing method. We have single trailing method and we have double trailing method. What is single trailing method and what is this double trailing method? Now, first of all, I want to explain the single trailing method. This is my data. I want to create a data set. Now tell me what is the best input method I can use to read this data.
Column in.
Why we should require column input method?
Simple input method.
Full list, sir.
Simple list input method is enough, no? Because we do not have any embedded spaces.
Yes.
And all the data values are less than 8 characters. So I want to use a simple list method. Now I'm writing data set name DS1. Input, I want to have ID number, name character variable $symbol, then team character variable $symbol, then I want to have a start weight, then I want to have an end weight. Then I'm writing data lines. Finally, if you want, you can keep a semicolon. Now write the run statement. If I execute this program, yes, we are going to have 5 variables and 7 observations. And in the work library, you will get a DS1 data set. And yes, we got the 7 observations. But my requirement is now I do not want to have 7 observations. I want to have only team red observations. Out of 7, we have 4 observations contains a team red, and I want to have only those observations. How to get only those team red observations? If you want to get only team red observations, we can do in many different ways. First of all, I created a DS1 data set. Now from the DS1, in future, yes.
Sir, can we use keep option there? As you specified that we need to get only red.
Keep option is for variables.
Okay.
But I want to have observations.
Okay.
Where option?
Okay.
Sir?
We can use where option. Very good. How to add the where option, by the way?
Infile statement only.
No. Did we study that in the infile statement?
Write in data set.
Data set.
We should use in data
Sorry,
statement.
data
How to write it? Data set name. Where is equal to?
Where is equal
open
to?
the parenthesis.
Open parenthesis.
Team is equal to.
Team is equal to.
You should write it within the quotations.
Within the quotation.
Red. Close the parenthesis 2 times.
Scan over, sir.
Scan over, no. We cannot use scan over. If you want to scan over, before the team, you should have some common value. By using that common value, you can get it, no? Do we have any common variable before the team?
No, sir.
No. Now, otherwise, what I'm going to do in future, I'm going to write a program like this one. Data DS2 set DS1 if team is equal to red, run. Or data DS3 set DS1 where team is equal to red. Yes, we can do in so many different ways. So in the DS2, we are going to have only red team. In the DS2, one second.
Spelling mistake, sir. Team.
Team. Spelling mistake, sir.
Now, if I execute this program, yes, we are going to have DS2. In the DS2, yes, we are going to have only red team. Yes, we are going to have DS3. In the DS3 also, we have only red team. We have so many ways to achieve this one. Okay. But all these methods are not so efficient. Shivapriya, can you keep your video off? Okay, we have so many methods. I will tell you one example. You know what are all these methods? Say for example, I will tell you a scenario. There is a show is going on in an auditorium. You know, everybody came for the show and nobody was standing at the entrance. Everybody came to the show and they sat in that auditorium. And once that everybody has settled down, I came to the auditorium and I told whoever got the pass, only those people can stay, or otherwise the people who doesn't have that pass should leave that stadium. I announced that one. Is that method is the best one? Or in the second scenario, I was standing at the entrance. The people are coming in queue. Whoever got the pass, the ticket, I would allow only those people into the auditorium. Now, which
Second
one is the
option is
better method? Always the second option
Second
is the more efficient one. The second option is the better one, isn't it? Because it won't create any unnecessary, nuisance, like the people who has got that seats and all, auditorium, what you call pass and all. Always the second method is best. In the same way, these methods are example for the first ones. So that means I already created a data set. In that we have both red team and yellow team. From that, I'm creating one more new data set. There we are going to have only red team. So these are not more efficient ones. What is the most efficient one? While I'm creating a data set itself, I want to filter the data. While creating the data set itself, I want to filter the data. If you want to filter the while creating the data set itself, how we can do that one? Now see what I'm going to do. Now I'm going to input statement. In the input statement, I am going to read the first variable, team variable. So dollar symbol. If you want to read the team, which is present, by the way, in between a record, what is the best method that we can use to read only the team? We can use a column input method. If I keep my cursor here, right now the column number I'm getting 13 here. And if I keep my cursor here, the column number I'm getting 18. So now I'm getting team $13-18. By the way, if I execute this program, how many variables and how many observations I'm going to get? Anybody?
One observation.
One variable.
One variable.
One variable.
4 observations. Sorry.
Why 4?
7
You will get 7
observations.
observations, isn't it? But this is not my requirement. I want to have observations which contains team red. That means I want to have this observation and I want to have this observation. Now I'm writing I'm writing input team dollar symbol 13-18. Then after that, immediately by following, I am writing if team is equal to red. This is the condition I'm writing. Now, if the team is red, then I want to read the remaining variables. So now I'm reading the input statement. I want to create ID number. Then I want to have a name character variable dollar symbol. Then I want to have a start weight. Then I'm writing end weight. And if you want to read only ID number from here to here, I want to have a column numbers from 1 to 4. I want to read the team name values Amelia, which is 6-11. Now I'm writing 6-11. I want to have a start weight from 20 to 22. Now I'm writing 20-22. Now I want to have end weight, which is 24-26. Now I'm writing 24-26. Understand this one? Now, what is going to happen here? What is the first statement that we have here? Data DS1. Now it will create DS1 data set. Then what is the second statement I have? Input statement. It will read the team variable. From which column to which column it will read? It will read from 13th column to 18th column. It is going to capture red. Now, and after this, I'm writing if team is equal to red. So if this condition is satisfied, then and after that, you should read this statement. Generally, imagine the scenario. How SAS program is going to get executed. This is the first record that we have. Just imagine you are holding this record with your right hand. Just imagine cheskondi, you are holding this record with your right hand. Okay. Now, each statement will be get executed by one time by this first record. So data DS1, now in the work library, it will create DS1 data set. Then input team 13-18. So it will read from 13th column to 18th column. Now in the 13th column to 18th column, what is the value that is capturing now? Red. Generally, when the input statement executed one time, this record should be get dissociated from your hand. So far, you are holding this record with your right hand, right? As soon as the first input statement got executed, this record should go away from your hand. That is the rule. So that means in the real time, each record will be get executed by each statement one time. So input team 13-18, so that will be get executed, and this record should go away from the program. But what you should do, you should hold this record further until it executes the second input statement as well. అంటే సెకండ్ ఇన్పుట్ స్టేట్మెంట్ కూడా ఎగ్జిక్యూట్ అయ్యేంత వరకు యూ షుడ్ హోల్డ్ దిస్ రికార్డ్. సో you should hold this record further until the second statement got executed. So how to hold this record for that long? If you want to execute this record for that long, in the input statement, in the first input statement, after writing the variable name, I should tell don't go away, please hang up, please hang. So to hang this one for further, what I'm going to do, I am going to specify an @ symbol. So this @ symbol is called as a single trailing method, single @ symbol. This @ symbol will not allow this record to go away from this program. It remains present until the next input statement got executed. So first, this statement will be get executed. Now it will capture 13-18. Now say for example, it captured that red. Now the second statement I have written, if team is equal to red, if this condition satisfied, then it will execute the next statement. If the next statement executed, what are the variables you will get? You will get ID number, name, start weight, and end weight. Now coming to the second record, first it will execute team is equal to red. So it will execute team 13-18. So it will capture the yellow. Then we have if team is equal to red. Is the condition satisfied? No. So this record will be get dissociated. So when the condition satisfied, it holds the record for the execution of the next input statement within the program. To hold that record for that long, we use a special modifier called @ symbol, and this is called as a single trailing method. So how we can define the single trailing method? We can say it holds current input record for the execution of next input statement within the cycle. Within the cycle. This is also called as an iteration. I will tell you what you mean by iteration, maybe day after tomorrow. Understand this one, within the cycle or iteration. It holds the current input record for the execution of next input statement within the cycle or within the iteration. Some people call it as an iteration. You can also call it as an iteration. So to hold this record for the execution of the next input statement, we are going to specify @ symbol, and that single @ symbol is called as a single trailing method. Understand this one, everybody? Yes, I know a little bit complicated, but you should try to understand. Yes.
If we put team first, like will the variable start with team or?
No, yes, you're going to get the first team variable, because since we have an input statement team first, you'll get the team, and you'll get the remaining variables later, because these variables are present in the second input statement. And by the way, if you want to use single trailing method, you have to use only column input method, because first of all, I want to get the team value which is present in the center. Then I want to read the other variables. So you have to use only column input method. Or of course, you can also use a formatted input method as well. Understand this one? Now see, if I execute this program, yes, we are going to have DS1. Now can you see what observations that we have? We have only team red observations. So this is a more efficient than the other method that what I have shown you in the starting. Understand this one? జనరల్గా ఏమవుతుందంటే ఒక ఇన్పుట్ స్టేట్మెంట్ ఎగ్జిక్యూట్ అయిన తర్వాత రికార్డ్ ఇక్కడ నుంచి వెళ్ళిపోవాలండి. అలా వెళ్ళిపోకుండా ఇంకా ఫర్దర్ గా హోల్డ్ చేసి పెట్టుకోవాలి. ఎప్పటిదాకా హోల్డ్ చేయాలి? ఇంకొక ఇన్పుట్ స్టేట్మెంట్ కూడా ఎగ్జిక్యూట్ అయ్యేంత వరకు హోల్డ్ చేయాలి. అలా హోల్డ్ చేసి పట్టుకోవడం కోసం సింగిల్ ట్రైలింగ్ మెథడ్ వాడతాం అనమాట. అండర్స్టాండ్ దిస్ వన్?
Yes, sir.
To execute this statement as well, just imagine చేయండి, you are holding this record with the right hand, just like how you hold a cricket bat horizontally to your face, just like a stick, and then it will execute the first input statement. So it will read from here to here. Generally, when the first input statement executed, this record should go away from your hand because the work has been done, but you should not lose until to execute the next input statement. ఇంకొక input statement కూడా execute అయ్యేంత వరకు you should hold it. To hold it for that long, we are going to use at the rate symbol. Then it won't read that one. That is what, in the second observation, if condition is not satisfied, right? Then it will not execute the second statement. It will go from there because the condition is not satisfied. That's why, see, out of 7 observations, how many observations I'm getting in the DS1? Only because in the second observation, the condition is not satisfied. Anyway, that will go off. Condition satisfied అయినప్పుడు నెక్స్ట్ స్టేట్మెంట్ కూడా ఎగ్జిక్యూట్ అయ్యేంత వరకు హోల్డ్ చేయాలి. ఎస్,
అక్కడ ఇఫ్ రాశారు కదా, దాని బదులు వేరని రాయకూడదా సార్?
నో, యూ కెనాట్ రైట్. Generally, I will tell you later, when we use the where, no, we can use only where when we have an existing data set.
Okay.
You should not write where when we are creating a new data set from in-stream data.
Okay.
Where ఎప్పుడు కూడా ఎక్కడ రాస్తామంటే ఎగ్జిస్టింగ్ డేటా సెట్ మీద రాస్తామండి. అంటే సెట్ స్టేట్మెంట్ యూజ్ చేసినప్పుడు రాయొచ్చు.
Okay. Okay.
Sir, one doubt.
Yes.
ఇది మల్టిపుల్ ఇన్పుట్ స్టేట్మెంట్ యూజ్ చేసినప్పుడు అప్పుడు దాన్ని హోల్డ్ చేయక్కర్లేదా సార్ మరి?
That are different lines. We can hold that one because that time the record is not in one line, right? The records are present in multiple lines. So we are writing one input statement, one line. This is only one line.
Okay.
Okay. And the second method that we have is double trailing method. What is double trailing method? Say for example, I will tell you the example first, then you can understand how we can explain that one. I have Hyderabad, maximum temperature is 38, minimum is 27. Chennai, maximum is 39, minimum is 29. Then I have a Bangalore, maximum is 33, minimum is 21. Then we have, say for example, Pune, maximum is 35 and minimum is 26. And then finally, I have Delhi, maximum is 40 and minimum is 32. I want to create a data set. I am writing data set name temp, input. I want to have variable called city, character variable $symbol. Then I want to have a maximum temperature. Then I want to have a minimum temperature, semicolon. Then I'm going to write the data lines. Now, tell me, based on our current understanding, if I execute this program, how many observations I'm going to get?
5.
5 observations?
One observation.
One observation?
Yes, 5 observations.
5 observations.
Sitting down. Maximum. No.
Now, how we are going to get 5 observations? Now, see, how many variables we have in the input statement?
3.
3, right? So it will start here. What is the rule?
1, 2, 3. Okay, 1, 2, 3.
What is the rule?
5.
Space or
Space or 8 characters, whichever comes first is to stop there. Now 1, 2, 3, we have space. Hyderabad will go to which variable?
City.
Now after the space, 3, 8, 38 space, 38 will go to which variable?
Maximum temperature.
And after the space, we have a 2, 7. This will go to which variable?
Minimum temperature.
Minimum. So do we have any variables after this one?
No.
Now then what will happen to this? That will be get ignored. So that means how many observations I will get?
one observation.
One observation. This is what we have learned so far, no? Isn't it?
Yes, sir.
See, we have one observation only because in the input statement, I have only 3 variables, but here I have, say, for example, 15 values. But since I have only 3 variables, it will read the 3 values. The remaining part will be get ignored. This is what we have learned so far. That is what exactly will happen. But sometimes in the real time, because of the space issues, multiple observations will come into one line. Here, I have 5 observations as come in one line. 5 observations, okay, line lo vachinayi. I want to read this one as one observation, this one as a second observation, this as a third one, fourth one, and the fifth one. How to get 5 observations? General, I told you, just imagine, you are holding this record with your right hand. Very formally, you are holding with your right hand. So in the input statement, how many values we have? City. Hyderabad will go to city. 38 will go to max. 27 will go to min. Since you do not have any variables after that one, this record should go away from your hand. Isn't it? Should be get discarded. But what I want to do, I want to hold this record very formally for the execution of the same input statement one more time. If the same input statement executed one more time, again what will happen? Chennai will go to city, 39 will go to max, and 29 will go to min. And again, I want to hold this furthermore to read Bangalore into city, 33 into max, 21 into min. So I do not want to lose it. I'm going to hold it furthermore to get Pune into city, 35 into max, 26 into min. So that means what I want to do, I want to hold this record for the execution of the same input statement again and again. How we can hold that one? If you want to hold in that way, in the input statement, after writing all the variable names, what you should do? You need to specify double @ symbols. And this is called double trailing method. These 2 @ symbols, it holds the current input record for the execution of the same input statement across the cycles. And oka program la kadandi, malli inkoka program inkokasari program execute ayi the same input statement inkokasari execute ayyenta varaku it should hold. So how we can explain this one? It holds current input record for the execution of same input statement across the cycle. అంటే ఇంకొక నెక్స్ట్ సైకిల్లో కూడా సేమ్ ఇన్పుట్ స్టేట్మెంట్ ఎగ్జిక్యూట్ అయ్యేంత వరకు ఇట్ షుడ్ హోల్డ్ ద రికార్డ్. So now see, after writing the double @ symbol, now I am executing this program now. Before that, see, we have only one observation. Now after writing the double @ symbol, now I'm executing this program. Yes, we have a temp data set. Open the temp. Now can you see how many observations I have now? 5 observations. Now understand the difference between single trailing and double trailing. In the single trailing, we are going to have 2 input statements in one program. So second input statement కూడా execute అయ్యేంత వరకు హోల్డ్ చేసి పట్టుకోవాలంటే single @ symbol. But in the double trailing, you will have only one input. The same input statement should execute again and again across the cycle. For that reason, you should use a double trailing method. So simply, if you want to say that when we use a double trailing method, when we have multiple observations in one record. How many observations I have in one record here? 5 observations. Not only that, in that way. Now, if you have 2 observations in one record, 2 observations in one record and 1 observation in one record. Now also we use a double trailing method. Very, very important interview question. When we have a multiple observations in one record, or if you want to read one record into multiple observations, what is the method that you use? We use a double trailing method. How we can explain the double trailing method? It holds the current input record for the execution of the same input statement across the cycle. Across in the sense, in the next program. Understand this one? Is this clear?
Can't we use single at the rate?
No.
As it
Cannot,
can
it
also
cannot
hold.
hold. No, when we can use single trailing, when we have one more input statement. Do we have one more? Do we require one more input statement? No. I want to execute the same input statement again. For that purpose, we use a double trailing method. Everybody clear this one?
Yes, sir.
This is called a double trailing method. Now, at the end of that input statement, we have interview questions. And I don't know how far you guys are going through that interview questions. So now here we have an interview questions. Now, can somebody explain me in our own words? Kishore, keep your video off. Put your video off. Like, what is the first question? What is the input statement? What is the syntax, and explain? How we can explain that input statement? How we can explain
To describe the data.
input
To
statement
describe the
describe
data.
to specify the variable name?
It's along with.
To specify the variable names, and along with the infile statement, it reads the data into variable.
Variables.
Very good. What are the types of input statement that you know? Anybody?
Column input method.
Column input.
Multiple input.
List input,
Formatted input.
formatted input, named input.
Named input.
Very good. If you read the notes properly, if you listen to my class, you can easily answer all these questions. Okay, you might not answer only one this question. I will explain this question maybe day after tomorrow. Okay, put statement. And yes, we have a tasks in this location. Please do the tasks infile and input together. Okay, everybody should do the tasks in the infile and input statement in the tasks folder. Yes, we have a tasks. Please do all the tasks. Understand this one? Here we have input statement task. Do this one. If you want to read this data successfully, what is the method we can use? Anybody? We can use a column input method. We can use a format input method, or you can use second method of simplification method, or now we can use a mixed input method also. Mixed input method also. Okay, please try to read all the data. If you want to read this data, what is the method I should use?
Multiple input statements.
Or hash symbol or forward slash symbol.
Forward symbol. Forward.
So try to read all the data successfully into SAS. Okay. So once you're done with the input statement, what is the next statement that we have?
Data
What is the
lines.
next statement that we have? Data lines. Very good. We have a data line statement. When we read the data line statement, any idea?
After input
To
statement.
read the observation.
To read observation.
When we are
To read raw data.
when we have raw
Data.
Observations.
To read in-stream data or raw data. In-stream data or raw data, we use the data line statement. Or otherwise, what the other statement that we can use? We can also use cards statement. Okay.
Group lo petara.
Already I kept no? Wrong back. Didn't I put that stars in the group?
No, sir.
Sure.
Yes, sir.
Now in the infile statement, I am writing the data lines. Then I'm writing the input statement, ID number, name character data. So what method I should use for the name? I want to use the column input method because we have, embedded spaces. So 6-20. Now in the name character variable 6-20, then sex variable, then character variable dollar symbol. Then I want to have an RBC, WBC. I'm ready. Excuse me. Chandu Reddy. Now see, I'm selecting this program. By the way, am I going to get the data? Am I going to get the data or not? I will
Yes,
get the
sir.
data.
Yes, sir.
Now see, in the program, if whenever you have in-stream data, after writing the input statement, you will write the data lines. Once you have written the data lines, you should have only the data. You should not have any other statements except the in-stream data. Okay. Now see, if I execute this program, yes, we are going to have a DS dataset, yes, and yes, we are going to have the data. Understand this one? So whenever you have in-stream data, before that in-stream data, what we are going to do, we are going to take the data lines, and after the data lines, we should have only the data. We should not have anything other than the data. Okay. Now, this is my data. I want to create a data set. How this data differs from the previous data? What is the difference between this data and the previous data? Anybody?
At the end of semi.
We have semicolon after each.
There is a
of the-
semicolon after the data.
After each and every record, we have a semicolon, isn't it? Now, I want to read the name. I'm writing 6-20. Then I want to have a sex. You no need to have column input method for this one, dollar symbol. Then I want to have an RBC. And finally, I want to have a WBC. Then I'm writing the data lines. As soon as we have written the data lines and semicolon, the background of the in-stream data should get turned into yellow color. But unfortunately, can you see it didn't turn into yellow color? You know why? Because we have a semicolon after each and every record. That's why you will not get this data. It's not getting turned into yellow color. Then what we should do? Now see, I'm trying to execute the program. Yes, you will get the DS1, but there is no data because of that semicolon. Now, whenever you have a semicolon after each and every record, you know what you should do? In the data lines, instead of the data lines, you should write a statement called data lines 4. No matter how many records we have, still you should write only data lines 4. But when I write the data lines 4, can you see even the run statement background also turned into yellow color? In that scenario, what we should do? We need to stop this program by keeping, can you tell me how many semicolons is generally I'm going to keep it here? 1 semicolon, right? But now you have to specify 4 semicolons. No matter how many records that we have, you should always write the data lines 4 here, and you should write 4 semicolons only. Okay, now see, I'm selecting this program and I'm executing this program. Yes, we are going to have a DS1. Now, can you see? We got the data. So when each and every record is coming along with a semicolon, instead of data lines, what we should write? We should write data lines 4. Understand this one? And you should end the program with 4 semicolons. మీ దగ్గర 5 records ఉన్నా 10 records ఉన్నా or 1 record, whatever it might be, still on the top you should the data lines 4. At the end, you should specify the 4 semicolons. Understand this one? Now see, yes, we are going to have the data. Is this clear, everybody? Now, this is my data. I want to create a data set. Now, how to create a data set? how this data differs from the previous data? Same or different?
Same.
Same, sure.
No.
Same.
Without space.
You know, in the previous data, we have a space between the last value and the semicolon, but here we do not have any space. I want to create DS2 data DS2. I'm writing the input statement. I want to have ID number. Then I want to have a name character variable dollar symbol 6-20. Then I want to have a sex character variable dollar symbol. Then I want to have an RBC. Then I want to have a WBC. Then I'm writing the data lines. But unfortunately, it's not getting turned into yellow color. Tell me what should I do if you want to turn this into yellow color? Instead of data lines, you should write
Data
lines 4. But when I read the data lines
And
4,
four
even the run
semicolons.
statement is changing into yellow color, we should write 4 semicolons.
4 semicolon.
Now see, if I select the program and execute the program, you will get the data in all the variables except WBC. You know why? According to this program, WBC is a numerical variable, but here I'm getting the numerical value along with the semicolon, along with a special character, isn't it? Now SAS cannot understand the special character. Now it cannot understand it is as a numerical data. So that's why you won't get the data in the WBC. Then what we should do if you want to get the data in WBC? What we should do? So since we have a semicolon along with that data, what we should do? Now, if you want to read as a numerical data, you know what we should do? I am going to use a column input method. So this is the starting column, which is a column number 30. If I keep my cursor here, column number 32. Now I'm going to specify, 30-32. What is this method, by the way? What is this method?
Column.
What is this input? Column input method. Now see, I'm selecting this program and I'm executing this program. Yes, I'm going to have a DS2. Now, can you see how we have the WBC now? Yes, we got the data and we got it as a numerical variable. Understand this one? So this is about data lines statement. Everybody clear?
Sir,
Yes.
in case there is a character data, what happened to the last observation?
If you have character data here, so for example, like this one.
We use in input also we give the dollar symbol.
No, if you give the dollar symbol, you don't need to write this one. Now, if you give the dollar symbol, this will become a character data.
Sir, here semicolons is there, sir, in observe in data.
Yes, you can use the column input method. If you specify, say, for example, 30th column to 32nd column, yes, you will get the data.
I'm telling in case
so when
it
you're
is
using
a
a column
character.
input method, if it is a column input method,
అలా కాదు సార్, ఒకవేళ ఇప్పుడు సెక్స్ వేరియబుల్ లాస్ట్ ఉండి అప్పుడు మనం ఈ కాలమ్స్ అవి సెమీ కాలమ్స్ అనేవి పక్కనే ఉంటే ఎలా ఎగ్జిక్యూట్ అప్పుడు క్యారెక్టర్ డేటా కింద రీడ్ చేస్తుంది కదా సార్ సెమీ కాలమ్స్
ఇలా ఉంటాయి.
ఆ 120 కాకుండా మేల్ ఫీమేల్ ఒకవేళ అయ్యి ఉంటే లాస్ట్ డేటా అనేది
ఇలా ఉంటాయి.
ఎలా ఉండి మనం అక్కడ కూడా మనం ఇస్తే
See, if you want to have a semicolon as part of the data, simply you can use only dollar symbol. So data is going to come. ఎలా వస్తుంది ఇప్పుడు ఫస్ట్ అబ్జర్వేషన్ లో WBC హెచ్వైడి సెమీకాలన్ కింద వచ్చేస్తుంది. నాకు అలా సెమీకాలన్ వద్దు అనుకుంటే కనుక మీరు ఏం చేస్తారు? యూ కెన్ యూజ్ కాలమ్ ఇన్పుట్ మెథడ్ టు రీడ్ ఓన్లీ దిస్ పార్ట్. Or otherwise, if you are having data like this one in future, no, what we are going to do, we are going to use some functions to remove the semicolons. డేటాలో ఆల్రెడీ వచ్చేసింది అనుకోండి ఇలాగే, అప్పుడు మనం ఏం చేయాలంటే ఫ్యూచర్ లో ఫంక్షన్స్ ఉంటాయి అనమాట. బై యూజింగ్ ఫంక్షన్స్ వీ కెన్ రిమూవ్ ద సెమీకాలన్.
ఓకే సార్, థ్యాంక్ యూ సార్.
ఓకే, క్లియర్ ఎవ్రీబడి?
Yes, sir.
Now, so for example, if this is my data, how to write a program for this data? After the data lines, what is the last statement that we have?
Run statement.
Very good. Now I want to create data set demo. I'm writing data demo. Then I'm writing the input ID number, name, character variable dollar symbol, 6-20. Then I want to have a 6 character variable dollar symbol. Then I want to have a RBC, and then I want to have a WBC. Then I'm writing the data lines. Now, if you keep a semicolon, generally what I'm writing the program, and after that I will write a run statement, right? So when you have a in-stream data, run statement is not mandatory. Only semicolon is also enough. Now see, if I select the program and execute the program, yes, I'm going to have a demo data set. Can you see we have the data? So that means when we have in-stream data, run is not mandatory. Even semicolon is also enough. Now, I'm not writing the semicolon, but I'm writing the run. This time, I want to create a demo one. Now see, I'm selecting the program, executing the program. Now also I'm going to get the data set. So that means here, semicolon is not mandatory. Only run is also enough. But all the time, better to keep semicolon and write the run statement. This is the most appropriate way of writing the program when we have in-stream data. Now see, I want to create a demo too. Now I'm selecting the program, executing the program. Yes, you will have a demo too, and you will get the data. So that means when we have in-stream data, run is not mandatory. Only semicolon is also enough. లేదనుకోండి ఓన్లీ ఏం రాయించండి మీరు ఇప్పుడు ఓన్లీ రన్ is also enough. But always better to write semicolon and then run statement. This is only for in-stream data. But in any other program, mandatorily you should close your program with run statement. Understand this one? Say for example, I want to create data set from an existing data set. Now I'm writing, say for example, data class 1 set self data class. In this program, you have to close your program with run statement. In any other state program, you have to close your program every time with run statement. Only when we have in-stream data, only semicolon is also enough. Understand this one? Is this clear, everybody?
Yes, sir.
This is about a run statement.
Sir,
So with this, yes.
sir, I have a doubt, sir. Sir, in the above scenario, the data is in aligned manner, sir. What
Yes.
in case we have not aligned manner, sir? When the data is in
Which-
not aligned manner.
Which values is not
For
in
the above
aligned manner?
scenario, data lines.
This one.
Data lines and the semicolon. Yes, sir.
If you have not in aligned manner like this one,
And we
So
have
if you have
semicolon in
any-
the last. For the data
everywhere,
lines. Yes, sir,
anywhere.
yes, sir.
If the data is not in alignment, at least what you should do, you should make sure that you should have at least 2 consecutive spaces between the value which contains empty space and the next value should have at least 2 consecutive spaces. It doesn't matter whether you have a comma. That semicolon is for what? For WBC. So for example, this is our question, right? I have an @ symbol and semicolon, and at the same time I do not have a data in aligned manner. Isn't it?
Yes, sir.
That is our question.
Yes, sir.
So,
Yes, sir.
so here instead of 6-20, what you will do here? Since we have 2 consecutive spaces, you will specify @ symbol and you will specify how much length you want to have. We'll specify here. But since we have a semicolon every time, you should write the data lines 4, and you should close here with the 4 semicolons.
Okay, sir.
Clear, everybody? So far, we have completed the first chapter. Now tell me, we started discussing about the data statement. Anybody can tell me why we read the data statement? Why we read the data statement?
Specify the name of
To
data
give the
set.
file.
To specify a data set name. So if I read the DS1, what will happen?
Data set name.
Data set
We will create
name
DS1. But if I
execute as
specify
DS1.
DS1, DS2,
Multiple
Two
data
data
sets.
sets exist
it
with
will create multiple
one
data
data.
sets. Very good. And after that, we started discussing about the options. Remember, what are the options that we have discussed?
Keep,
We have
drop,
discussed
Keep,
it.
drop,
keep,
Drop is
drop,
equal to.
rename.
Then,
drop,
we discussed
Rename.
drop is equal to. Then we discussed rename is equal to.
Rename.
Rename is equal to, within the parentheses, old name is equal to new name, isn't it? And then
Sir,
we
one
discussed
one doubt
Where
regarding
is
this.
equal?
Sir, when we write a data set with multiple statements like keep, drop, rename, where, and all, is it mandatory to keep in the first variable? I mean, sorry, first, or
So
we can keep
when we have keep or a drop, rename and where, you should always say it either keep or drop in the first position. Then only should add the rename, and in third position should add the where. That is the order you should follow. Understand? You should always
Sir,
say the
in
keep or
the
drop
task
first.
section, in data statements task, there is one question saying that where sex is equal to M and rename age is equal to EMP age and income is equal to salary, then it is asking to keep only few variables from that. So, so I could not
See,
execute
I
it
can,
when it.
I can ask you question in any order, but when writing a program, you should always set a keep or drop first. Then only you should write the rename, and in the third position, you should write the where. When you require all the three.
So I have to put the keep in first, already replacing with what I have renamed.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, sir.
Then we discussed the where option. So why we use the where option? We use the where option to select the observation based on a condition. Then we have seen label is equal to option. Label is going to apply the label for a data set. Then we have seen password is equal to.
Password.
Then we have seen, I told you by default we are going to have replace is equal to yes. If you do not want to replace, you should the replace is equal to no. And if you do not want to get errors in the log window, no list option. Then if you want to create a program
PGM.
instead of a data set, a PGM, and if you want to create a view instead of a data set, view is equal to. And when we have seen how to create a multiple data sets in one program, isn't it?
Sir, we don't know about no list and view.
I explained it now.
We joined in the other classes, sir. We are not there in the first class.
Okay, we'll see that one. Now, in file statement, we discuss in file statement. What we write in the in file statement? If you have any stream data, we will write the data lines.
Raw data.
If it is a text file data,
Path of the
you will
file.
specify. You write the path of the text file. And now, based on the data, by default, you should have a space as the delimiter. But if you have any comma as a delimiter, we use the DST. If you have any special character, DLM is equal to the special character. But if you have a string, we can use a DLM or a DLM is equal to the DLM str is equal to that string. But if the string is in multiple cases, we use DLMS OPT is equal to ignore the case. Then what we have discussed after that one, and by default we have discussed about the first OBS is equal to OBS is equal to 1, but you can write any number. Then we discussed OBS is equal to by default we have a max, you can add any number. Then by default we will have a floor option. And if you want to stop the floor option, we use an option called miss over. If you have a missing value at the end of the record, and if you want to stop the program, we use a stop over. And if you want to take only few values, we use the scan over. And I told you how to create automatic variables. So we have seen end is equal to variable, and we have seen file name is equal to variable. File name is equal to variable, and we have seen column is equal to variable. And we have seen column is equal to variable, and we have seen length is equal to variable, and length is equal to variable, and we have seen line is equal to variable.
Line is equal to variable.
Line is equal to variable. So these are the automatic variables we have seen, and then we discussed multiple in-file statements. Remember?
Yes.
And then we have discussed file name statement. Remember?
Yes, sir.
This is what we have discussed. And then we started discussing about input statement. You know, when we use input statement to specify the variable names, to describe the data, to read the data into variables. And based on that, we have discussed in the starting today's class, what are the methods that we can use in the input statement? Isn't it? Column
Yes, sir.
input, list inputs, format input, named input, null input. And then we discussed about input specifications. Remember, what are the input specifications that we discussed?
Single
trailing and double.
Single trailing and double trailing.
Double trailing.
Double try.
And after that, what we have discussed? We discussed
Data.
about data lines or cards statement. Data lines or what you will write? You will write the data lines for. And finally, we discussed the run statement. Understand this one?
Sir, small dot. Sir, ఇక్కడ in program లో like ABC delimiter ఉంది sir, and along with the comma ఉంది. So DLMSTR and DSD use చేయొచ్చు sir.
You should use only DLM. You don't need the DLMS here.
So అంటే
DLM is equal to
DLM
ABC,
లో
comma.
నార్మల్ క్యారెక్టర్స్ ఉంటాయి సార్.
So that is going to get deleted even in the data also. In that scenario, try to make sure that if the data is in aligned manner, you can use a column input method. From where to where you want to read the data, use a column input method and read whatever the data you want to. Say for example, children, now I have 101 ABC Srinivas. And again I have ABC, say for example HYD. So I want to read only this part, 1, 2, 3. And I want to read only this part, say for example 8 to say maybe say for example 15. And I want to read only HYD, again 19 to 21. Understand?
Okay, sir. So, in the second line, in the play after 102, if
So
there is
if you want to use, if you have like this one, comma, you
yes,
have
sir.
like this one,
Yes, sir.
you should use only DLM. In this scenario, data lines రాయండి, దీనికన్నా పైన ఏం రాయాలండి ఇప్పుడు? సో ఇన్పుట్ స్టేట్మెంట్ రాస్తారు, ఇన్పుట్ స్టేట్మెంట్ కన్నా ముందు ఏం రాస్తారండి? ఇన్ఫైల్ స్టేట్మెంట్ రాస్తారు, ఇన్ఫైల్ డేటా లైన్స్ అని రాసి నెక్స్ట్ ఏం చేయాలండి ఇప్పుడు? DLM is equal to within the quotations A, B, C, comma.
Sir, here
Clear?
DLM
ఇప్పుడు ఇండివిజువల్ క్యారెక్టర్స్ కింద కన్సిడర్
single
చేస్తుంది
characters.
సార్ అప్పుడు అది.
The problem with the DLM, no, ఇప్పుడు శ్రీనివాస్ లో ఏ కూడా డిలీట్ అయిపోతుందండి.
డిలీట్
String
అవుతుంది.
option.
That is the problem with the DLM.
సో అందుకే
డేటా ఇప్పుడు అంత వర్స్ట్
string
అయితే రాదు, అలా వచ్చినప్పుడు చెప్పండి.
అదే సార్ స్ట్రింగ్ గా మళ్ళీ అట్ ద సేమ్ టైం కామాకి డిఎస్డికి అట్లా యూస్ చేస్తే రావట్లేదు సార్. ఫస్ట్ లైన్ ఒకటి ఎగ్జిక్యూట్
You won't
అవుతుంది,
get that.
సెకండ్ లైన్
Yeah, because there is an error, no, you won't get the data. You won't get that much like, filthy data. Okay. Clear this?
సార్ ఇంకోటి ఇన్పుట్ స్టేట్మెంట్ లో లైక్ ఇన్ఫైల్ స్టేట్మెంట్ జనరల్ గా అంటే రాస్తే ఏమైనా ప్రాబ్లం అవుతుంది?
Understand? Again, come again.
Like while we are writing for input statement, if we mention infile statement means if there will be any problem, sir, in the execution.
No, if you have any stream data, you no need to write infile statement. Even though you mentioned what you will write in the infile statement, you will write data lines. Not a problem at all.
Okay, sir.
If you want, you can write it. Otherwise, no need to worry, because by default, anyway, SAS thinks is in stream data. Understand?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay, then. See you in tomorrow's class.